Hey guys, it's Sir Agent Zero, and today I have a serious topic I need to talk to you guys about. If you're here for an entertaining, funny trolling video, just get out now. This is not entertaining whatsoever. It's just something I have to get off my chest, and hopefully I inspire a few of you guys. Hopefully I touch home with you, and I help make your day. I hope you enjoyed this. Anyways, cue the intro. So today I want to talk about something very personal, and I'm thinking of making this into a series. This one's called My Experience with Suicide. And first off, just a disclaimer here, I didn't commit suicide. I love my life. I wouldn't give it up for the world. I'm not the one who committed suicide, which will lead me into my story here. So anyways, it was this hot summer day. I'm chilling at my house, trying to stay as cold as possible, as cool as possible, bringing my temperature down. I was sweating and I wasn't even doing anything. And then my mom turns to me and she says, "Can I tell you something?" I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? At first I thought I was in trouble even though I didn't do anything. You know that feeling when like a teacher or something asks to talk to you even though you didn't do anything, you think you're in trouble. But anyways, my mom said, your friend Evan? And I'm like, yeah, I know Evan, of course. In case you don't know, Evan has been a longtime friend of mine. I met him when I played football for 6 years. Started in grade 3, if you can imagine me in grade 3. But I met him in grade 3, and we've been friends ever since. Anyway, she said, "Your friend Evan has been in the hospital for 3 weeks now." And I'm like, what? 3 weeks? What did he do? Did he hurt himself or something? And that's when her eyes glazed over. I'm like, uh-oh, what's going on? And she said, "Your friend Evan, she took a while too." And I'm like, hurry up, please. I want to know what's going on. She said, "Your friend Evan tried to kill himself." I'm like, what? Evan? And she's like, "Yeah, Evan." I'm like, "Are you sure?" And she's like, "Yeah." And to be honest, I couldn't handle this information. I was sad. I was actually my first feeling was mad. I was angry. He's been in the hospital for 3 weeks at that time, and I only my mom told me now at that moment in time, not today, but it was a while back. She told me 3 weeks after the incident, and she got me caught up on all the news. So what happened was, my friend Evan recently has been feeling very, very depressed, and I guess one day he found a bottle of Tylenol 3 pills. And in case you don't know what Tylenol 3 pills are, you're supposed to take one every 36 hours, I believe. It's for people who just suffered a heart attack or stroke. It's basically like a very strong painkiller. You're only supposed to take one every 1.5 days, I believe. Anyways, my friend Evan, he took 30 over the course of like 5 seconds. He tried to kill himself. He wrote a suicide note and everything. And thank God, Evan's mom, she felt kind of weird. I don't know. Maybe it was God himself telling her to check up on Evan. And so she ran into her room. She saw Evan passed out on the bed with the note and everything. She freaked out. She called the hospital. She drove straight to the emergency room. And what happened was they had to cut up my friend Evan's stomach. And they had to individually pull out the pills one by one, and some of them already half digested. They were afraid he wasn't going to make it. Some of the pills they couldn't find, they assumed that it was already digested. It was very scary, and thankfully he survived the surgery, and this will always stay with me for a while. He was in the hospital in his bed, surrounded by his family, his mom, his dad, his older brother and older sister. And they're all crying, they're all sad. And the first thing he said was, "When can I see," he said, he asked when he could see me. Out of all the people, he asked when he can see me. And when my mom told me that, at that exact moment, I knew if I was going to jump in front of a freaking train, if I was going to take a bullet to the head for anybody in the world, I knew at that moment in time, it was going to be for Evan. My heart just melted. I felt so sorry. I didn't know what to feel, to be honest. I felt kind of, I was shocked to find out that out of all the people in the world, out of all the things he could have asked for, all he wanted to do was see me. And I almost broke down into tears. I was about to cry. I was so, it was just awkward, And then my mom said, he's really wanting to see you now, and just he wants you to tell him what he wants. He wanted to tell me what's been happening recently, and I'm like, okay, sure. So I met up with him as soon as possible, and oh my god, when he rang the doorbell and I went sprinting to that door. First off, I'm not a crier. I never cried at my grandma's funeral. I never cried as a kid. My mom said when I came out on the day I was born, I didn't even cry. Doctors were scared for me. But when I saw Evan for the first time, I swear to God, I cried like a baby. I gave him the biggest bro hug in the world. I cried. And he whispered into my ear. He said, everything's going to be all right. And for him to say that to me, I don't know, it kind of humbled me. He was about to die. He was accepting the death, and he survived, and he wanted to see me. And the first thing he said was, everything's going to be all right. I felt so relieved. I felt so glad he survived, and I never wanted to let him go. We had the biggest bro night in the world. It was a bromance in that day. We just had so much fun together. I wanted to make that one day the best of his life. And after we had a bunch of fun, and we started to settle down, he explained everything in more detail. So he told me after the surgery and after he woke up, doctors discovered he was unipolar. He had a unipolar disease. In case you don't know what it is, to be bipolar means you either feel really, really happy or you're really, really, really sad. And my friend Evan, he's unipolar. He's always, always sad. It's painful for him. He says it's so bad. And I couldn't really wrap my head around it. Being sad for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for your entire life. How can you imagine that? So he put it in perspective for me. He said, you know that feeling where you're attending a funeral and you know you're never going to see that person again, and you know their final day with that person you didn't dedicate that day for it to be your last with that person. You wish you can see him again, and you're just so depressed on the inside. And I'm like, yeah. And he said, that's how I feel every damn day of the year. And I was like, wow, that just blew me away. I felt so bad for him. And I asked him, I'm like, so like, when he woke up, is it true the very first thing he said was he wanted to see me? And he's like, yeah, I really wanted to see you. I wanted to tell you what was going on with me. I just wanted you to understand. And honestly, in the back of my head, when I swallowed those pills, I knew if I was ever going to wake up, the first face I wanted to see was you. And I broke down. That was the most crying I did in the rest for my life so far. And it's just amazing, just to be with him, just to enjoy his company. And now every night before I go to bed, I text him, just ask him how his day went. We joke around a little bit. And, I treat him like a god now. He's just that one person in my life where I'm glad I know him. I'm glad I met him back in grade 3. And, I'm glad I knew him. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this. If you know of someone who's tried to commit suicide or any story like that, I hope I touched home with you. I hope in the end, as Evan would say, everything's going to be all right. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching and have a good day. Bye.